40 years ago this month, Oklahoma was dealing with the aftermath of one of the worst prison riots in U.S. history. 3 people were killed, more than 20 injured, and 24 buildings were destroyed when inmates took over the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAlester. Overcrowding and poor living conditions fueled the inmates' rage, and low-paid, undertrained staff couldn't keep the violence under control. Now, correctional workers across the state warn that conditions are ripe for another crisis.
The Just Done Correctional Facility in Taft is like all prisons in Oklahoma. It is filled to capacity. 982 inmates are housed here, and there is no indication that will change. As some men are paroled, more inmates are transferred in, many from county jails, which have been holding inmates locally until there is a bed open at the state level. Yet the staffing of corrections officers at Just Done is only 68%.
We run shift with 13 officers, and we generally have about 982 inmates here. We have gotten our staffing reduced down to 12 where it used to be 18. So we're running way low from where we used to be.
12 corrections officers to oversee nearly 1,000 inmates. If a guard calls in sick or has a family emergency, mandatory overtime kicks in for someone already on duty.
And some people call in at the last minute, so you can be getting ready to leave the compound and you're called back to do a double.
Tionda Ivy may work 1, 2, or 3 double shifts a week, meaning 16-hour days.
They're not as sharp. That second shift, you get into that 8, 10, 12, 14. Those hours, they're not as sharp. They're not as quick to respond because they're tired.
Like in my situation, I can't work 4 to 12, so I do my doubles backwards. Come in at midnight and I'll do it till 4. With my schedule with my kids, sometimes I find my oldest son watching the little ones for me.
Meanwhile, Ivy watches over as many as 200 inmates at a time. She is the one wearing blue among the massive inmates in the cafeteria. Ivy is a single mother of 3, and after 2 years of employment, she takes home a base salary of less than $1,900 a month. New hires start at $11.83 an hour, and many receive food stamps. Ivy makes a little more than that, but she struggles to put food on the table.
You just find yourself short in the refrigerator, but you make do with what you have.
Are you on food stamps?
No, ma'am. They said I make $3 too much.
Lieutenant Eddie Bell says even though there are fewer positions, they still can't fill the jobs that are open.
We'll try to recruit people around Muskogee, tell them how much starting pay is, and they'll just bluntly say, I ain't working out there for that. You got to be kidding. That's all y'all make? The DLC staff is not greedy. We need more money so we can get staff in here to help us.
The layout of the prison compound is expansive, and if there is a problem at one unit, reinforcements must run from one end of the yard to the other. Are you worried that not only this prison but other prisons are just a tinderbox?
Absolutely.
What are your worries?
Overcrowding, riots, staff getting injured, killed, hurt. I mean, it's something that you face every day. You know, when you work in this environment and this business, I mean, that's what, you know, these people that we deal with don't want to be here.
Prison officials say crowding coupled with the summer heat is increasing tension and creating more conflicts among inmates. A bunk bed is their personal space among a sea of other inmates. On this day, the temperature was 20 degrees below normal, so with fans blowing throughout the unair-conditioned unit, it was bearable. But when the thermometer rises, it's a different story.
On a pretty hot day, about maybe 98 or 100, I usually sweat till about 12 or 1 at night, you know, and then it gets pretty cool, but you start sweating again about like 7 or 8 in the morning, you know. It's pretty hot.
Several times a day, inmates must be on their bunks to be counted. A single correctional officer is responsible for unit populations of 160 to 200 plus. Prior to lunch is one of those times. After bed check is completed, the officers must oversee the movement of inmates to get in line for chow. It takes more than an hour and a half to get all 982 inmates fed 3 times a day. They are lined up in 2 separate corridors and wait for their turn to enter the cafeteria. They are quickly handed a bologna sandwich, eat, and exit.
Go to the chow hall, you know, it's kind of crowded, overcrowded to where they can't really control the line too much. I mean, they control it, but it's still, you can tell there's so many people in here that it's hard to run them through real quick. You know, same thing with the medication line. You know, sometimes it takes forever. It's a long line.
Inmates are well aware of the low staffing situation, and Lieutenant Bell says that is giving some inmates an attitude.
You have more inmates challenging staff as opposed to used to where they'd be a little more obedient when given a direction. Now they're standing up to staff more. And
Why do you think that is?
the numbers are down. They know there isn't help ready. They know it's going to take a little longer for more officers to arrive to help.
Unit managers also face danger. Some are in charge of the daily lives of more than 200 inmates. Acting Deputy Warden Cheryl Bryan says case managers may not spot trouble brewing.
When you have a case manager that's got 100 plus offenders on their caseload, they can't sit down and visit with those people on a regular basis to get to know that population. When you get to know what's going on with somebody, you know how it can affect the unit.
Dave Miller is in charge of intelligence at the prison, and he depends on the eyes and ears of case managers and guards.
We have a lot of gangs here, anywhere from Crips, Bloods, UABs. They're all the time running their little games, all the time trying to get contraband in. You'll have offenders that get in debt to other offenders, which puts a lot of tension onto the yard, which puts just a dangerous situation for all officers, staff, and the offenders too.
The Oklahoma prison population has increased 30% in the last 15 years. The growth began when lawmakers reformed sentencing laws in the mid to late 1990s. The length of sentences was increased, and convicts were required to serve 85% of their time.
This state has made a conscious policy decision that we like to lock up bad guys and we want to put them away for a very long time. If there's one thing that I think everyone is in agreement on, it's that our prison populations are going to continue to grow.
Senator Clark Jolly says it's time to have a serious discussion about spending $300 million in prison infrastructure upgrades and replacing some state prisons. Senator Brian Crane doesn't believe the state needs to increase prison beds, but instead reduce the number of nonviolent offenders sent to prison.
What I think we need to do is that we need to focus our incarceration attentions on those who are the violent offenders.
According to the Oklahoma Policy Institute, the correction system is overwhelmed with 31% of nonviolent drug offenders serving long sentences. Crane believes more alternative diversion courts are needed.
If you go into a drug court program, if you go into a veterans court program especially, but drug court has a 75% success rate, and success is defined as not reoffending within 5 years. You go into a veterans court program, it's a 98% success rate. Those veterans will not allow their war brothers to fail. It's cheaper, it's more effective, and it's a greater investment for the state of Oklahoma.
The success rate for those leaving state prisons is only 50%, and those are costly odds.
Drug court, when you first start out, requires every day that you go to the drug court program. And it's a 2-year program. In 2 years, it cost us $10,000. We spend in that same 2 years $40,000 to incarcerate somebody.
According to corrections personnel, the population could further be reduced and workloads decreased if inmates with mental health problems were not sent to prison.
Our mental health inmates are just out of control. And what I mean by out of control, the population, you get more and more of them guys all the time. And them guys are a management nightmare.
You've closed a lot of mental health facilities, and we're sending people to prison who have mental health issues that normally we'd be treating in the community. Communities don't have the funding to do that either, so we have them here in a correctional environment. They don't really need to be here. We can't provide them mental health treatment.
Medication is provided by psychological services staff, but a prescribing psychiatrist only visits just done once a week. Crane says unless the public is educated about alternative solutions to prisons, lawmakers will do nothing.
They're going to live in fear that there is somebody out there that when they run again for re-election says, well, our representative or our senator is soft on crime. And with that, you're on the defense, and nobody knows any different.
Crane believes by reducing the state inmate count, millions of dollars could be saved and used to fund important needs like education.